So I'm from Flower Mound, Texas, and it's just a small suburb outside of Dallas. I went to a pretty big high school. I think I graduated with around 900 kids. I was always a kid that threw harder than most of the kids in my grade, and I had a really good breaking ball out of high school. And one thing, especially that Coach Matlock said when he recruited me, that I pitched with a lot of confidence.
I recruited Conner, that's been 5 years ago. Got real fortunate at West Virginia and signed him, beat Texas Tech and Wichita State. It was a pretty hard fight recruiting to get him to come to West Virginia. It was a long way from home, but he chose us and come in, had some big starts as a freshman. He was one of the best pitchers in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, or maybe the state of Texas. I mean, he was a 90-mile-an-hour guy with downhill and a really good breaking ball, struck a lot of guys out. He was a gamer. To come in the Big 12 and pitch a lot as a freshman, pretty hard to do. So I knew he was going to be a special kid.
I was a Sunday guy, so I threw my bullpen on Thursday, and it was the best bullpen I've ever thrown in my life. The coaches were really excited for me to throw. I was excited to get back out there and help the team win because we had been playing well, and the only games we struggled were the games I pitched. So I wanted to contribute. So Sunday rolls around, I went through all my warm-up stuff. I get into the bullpen, and I'm still playing catch, and Coach Matlock asked me how I feel, and I told him this is the best I've ever felt in my life. And then 5 pitches later, I snapped my arm.
He was 95 to 97, looked like he was going to be a top 5 rounder, and then of course broke his arm in the bullpen before he pitched against Oklahoma State, throwing a pitch, which is a freak accident. You don't see it very much in college baseball, and guys don't come back from it. It's an injury that if you ask doctors when he had it, it's like, hey, is he going to be able to pitch again? They're like, no, he'll have a shoulder injury or so forth.
First time I heard about it was with Coach Matlock, where he brought me into his office and he told me that we were going to be getting a transfer in from West Virginia, but that he had some shoulder issues. So usually I'm pretty adept to the challenges that come with getting transfers and stuff and being able to manage new cases. But when he explained the details of the case and what had happened to him, I was really kind of taken aback, and I was surprised that he was even throwing at that point. Ordinarily, an injury like that would be a career-ending injury.
So I had surgery on a Wednesday. They made me stay overnight, and then they finally let me out Thursday. Friday, we had a weekend series, so I showed up. I didn't think I was going to have to do anything. I walked into the training room. They're like, all right, let's get you out of that sling, get you moving around. I thought they were kidding. I was like, there's no shot you're moving my arm right now. But they did. They took me out of the sling, and I went through a bunch of range of motion exercises. I didn't have a whole lot of range of motion. And that was honestly just as painful as the break, just the first time moving it out of surgery. But from then, every day, I'd show up to the training room. I'd go through probably an hour and a half, 2 hours worth of exercises, trying to get my range of motion back, build the strength up in my shoulder. So I spent all summer in Morgantown. I worked with our trainer. He was unbelievable. I spent every day with him, probably for 3 hours a day. He was in charge of my lifting program, my rehab program, and then was ultimately in charge of my throwing program when the next year rolled around. And he did a great job. Towards the end of the year, things started to change. And at the end of the year, me and our head coach, we kind of had like a mutual agreement to part ways. And then as soon as I had my exit meeting and we both like agreed that I should graduate, and if I wanted to play, transfer and go somewhere else, as soon as that happened, probably 30 seconds after I walked out the door, Coach Matlock had called me and was like, hey, if you're healthy, he's like, I'd love to have you come down here and help this team win. And I came on a visit and I loved it. I loved Matlock, of course. He's the reason that I went to West Virginia, so it only made sense to come here and finish out my career here.
We placed him on a very aggressive rehabilitation program, probably one of the most aggressive and comprehensive programs I've put together. But we were able to successfully do it and be able to bring him back slowly but surely, and now he's where he's at. When you look at the action of pitching, it is an incredibly precise motion in which uses a lot of fine motor movements. So the body's really kind of used to and adapted to throwing in a particular way, especially with Dotson, because he's been doing it for such a long time. The goal was to be able to bring him back at 100%. The rehab program involved a really comprehensive throwing program. No two throwing programs are the same. So when we put in a pitcher in particular through a throwing program, we have to progress them. We use the guidelines, but everything is customized to that particular pitcher. We really had to think outside the box. We used a lot of the techniques that we do here. We do dry needling, we did blood flow restriction rehab. We did a lot of the techniques, a lot of cutting edge stuff, which is relatively new to the field of athletic training. We were able to incorporate in his rehab to bring him along in that short window that we had before the season started.
I owe a lot of credit to the people around me. Without the training staff at West Virginia, without Tom and Matlock, and without my family, like, I wouldn't be where I am right now. There were multiple times throughout the process where, like, I wanted to quit. Like, as soon as something went south, I was like, I don't know if I can keep going through this. So just for him to give me the ball every Saturday and have confidence in me, I couldn't thank him enough for that. I'm happy to be down here. I love it down here. And I'm just happy to help this team win. And I think something really special is about to happen.
So what I told him to recruit him, I said, listen, let's just put you in a starting role. Let's just give you one more shot at this thing to be the comeback player of the year, man, if you can pull this thing off. Let's don't throw you, inconsistent outings in relief. Let's just put you on the weekend and let you just go. If you go 2 innings, you go 2 innings. If you go 4, you go 4. And that might have helped us get him in the recruiting process because we told him the truth and we've done exactly what we told him we'd do. I told him at Texas right before the game, I told him, this is fun, isn't it? I said, you're getting an opportunity. I said, you have nothing to lose. You shouldn't even be pitching. If you look at past injuries with broken arms, you throw a baseball and break one of the biggest arms, biggest bones in your arm, and to be able to come back and pitch for him. So I said, dude, this is fun for you. You have no pressure. Nobody expects you to do anything. And I think that's the way he needs to attack the rest of the year. It's just a comeback story. I've told him when it happened, the day after it happened, I told him up there in Oklahoma State, dude, you're gonna be the biggest comeback story in NCAA baseball. You gotta realize that guy was a projected 3rd rounder when he broke his arm. That guy he lost $1 million, and so for him to come back and try to be a senior sign and get nothing, a couple $1,000, but he's getting his master's degree, which is the most important thing. It's gonna be a pretty impressive story if this guy goes in and goes pro after this. It's gonna be a pretty neat setup for a kid that broke his arm and come back from it. So Tom's done a great job with him. We're doing a good job, going once a week, and we hope we can hold on to that shoulder feeling good. And I'm excited to see him be the comeback player of the year.